9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3.
The Grunt Performance Victorian Sports Sedan Championship.
Yes, there we are, finally. Somebody's pressed the right button. Hello, welcome to In Pit Lane live from Grand Prix City, Melbourne. Yes, the Grand Prix is kicking off this weekend and in action. Of course, we'll see the opening round of the World Formula One Championship. All the stars are in town at the moment. Over the next few days, it's absolute chaos for the media, particularly tomorrow. Tomorrow is the day when all the sort of Formula One people are wandering around doing sort of the media stunts. It's a very full day. So if you're wandering around Melbourne tomorrow, chances are at some stage you're going to bump into a Formula One driver, a very bewildered and probably very bored Formula One driver, and a whole lot of very desperate international media trying to get an interview with said Formula One drivers. We will be among them. Also coming up this week at Albert Park, it's not just the Formula Ones, but of course the V8 supercars are in action with a round of their championship. Also, it's round 2 of the Carrera Cup, and somebody who will be in action at Albert Park this week is our guest tonight. He is Jordan Love, and he'll be joining us in just a moment. But preparing for this weekend's big weekend at Albert Park, the guys at Erebus decided to throw open their home to the world, actually, and despite some really terrible weather on Sunday, a huge crowd of people turned out to have a look at what went on behind the scenes, and we wandered out there to have a look ourselves.
Not even Melbourne's wild Sunday weather could deter a large crowd from heading to the Erebus Motorsport Open Day at the team's headquarters in Dandenong. The team's new ZB Commodore supercars were on display, along with the GT3 AMG Mercedes. The team's previous Mercedes supercar now relegated to acting as a weight to tie down the team gazebo. A popular attraction was the chance to be photographed alongside the Peter Brock Trophy, awarded for the team's Bathurst 1000 victory last year. But judging by the long lines, the most popular feature was the chance to meet team lead driver and Bathurst winner David Reynolds. The partnership between the outspoken Reynolds and the equally forthright team owner Betty Klemenko always had the potential to either be a nightmare or a marriage made in heaven. And following their great recent success together, Reynolds is in no doubt that he's found his place in the supercar paddock.
Yeah, it's been really good. Like since the end of 2015. And the signing with Erebus, it's been like a massive undertaking, not just for my own little journey, but the whole team itself. You know, when I first signed the contract with Betty, I was thinking myself I was going to be racing a Mercedes in Queensland. And then in a very short amount of time, they switched to Holden as a Walkinshaw Racing customer and moved to Melbourne. So it was a and they changed their entire staff. Like they let go of everyone in Queensland and start up a brand new team in Melbourne. So, you know, we struggled to get to the very first round at Adelaide. We were kind of under the pump, making everything happen. So yeah, it was a massive undertaking. And then 2 years later, we almost won the race we couldn't make it at. So yeah, it was kind of it's been an awesome journey just to watch everyone evolve personally and professionally in their own jobs. So it's been a great team. There's only 20 of us, and we're up against teams that have 60, 65, 70 staff. So, you know, personally myself, it's a much more thrilling, exciting thing to do it.
Following the open day, the team began the task of packing the transporter for the short trip up the Princes Highway to Albert Park for the second round of the Supercar Championship this weekend as a part of the Australian Grand Prix. And the teams will be competing not just for championship points for the first time at Albert Park, but for a brand new trophy. The Larry Perkins Trophy honours the six-time Bathurst winner who also made 11 race starts in Formula One in the 1970s.
When I started racing over 50 years ago, you never expected to be able to stand here and hand over a trophy with your name on it in the best category Australia's ever had of racing. And so I'm absolutely delighted that this has happened, and really look forward to handing it to the first winner.
The supercars have been a part of the Grand Prix since the days of Adelaide, but this year marks the first time that the races will be part of the Championship Series.
Yeah, this is absolutely different. You know, if we look at the analogy to Aussie rules, this is a season round. This is really, the money's on the line, the engineering's on the line, the team tactics, tyre selection, it's all on the line here at Albert Park for the Melbourne 400. So across 4 races on Friday, Saturday and Sunday, it really is an important part of a supercars calendar, and it's up there. 300 points on the weekend. The guys are saying that's the same as Bathurst, so there's a lot riding on it.
The addition of racing for championship points has changed the nature of the annual Albert Park hit-out for both teams, drivers and fans.
To win a trophy is one thing, but to win a trophy and championship points is what we're in it for. So I think from a spectator's point of view as well, they know that there's more on the line. And I think that's what makes it more impressive to watch and more, nail-biting from, like I say, that spectator's point of view.
Well, yeah, I used to love going to Albert Park because it wasn't a championship round. It's kind of like a fun event, and you rock up there, have a few races, go home, and now but the pressure's on because you got to perform. Championship points, 4 races. It's a really hard track to do laps at. Choose our tyres a lot. There's two pit stop races, 2 sprint races, so it's a very, very different weekend for us, but hopefully my car's fast like it has been the last couple of rounds, and we can punch it up the front again.
The distinctive Larry Perkins Perpetual Trophy was created by RMIT University engineering student Adrian Fassel-Murphy, together with senior lecturer Scott Mason, using a range of modern technologies right at home in the world of Formula One, such as 3D printing and virtual reality.
Yeah, we were looking at his Formula One background and then his touring car background, the innovations that he's brought to touring racing, and then trying to bring elements of those designs and those ideas and engineering into the design of the trophy itself. We used a series of different technologies with virtual reality to design and sculpt the form, and then we used traditional manufacturing processes to finish off the final design that we see here today.
Well, the trophy, it's effectively a carbon fibre black image, if you like, of a wheel with titanium printed spokes on it, and it's got my name in the middle, and it's got provision for 20 winners around the outside that'll have their name engraved as time goes on.
With 4 races across the weekend, there's no doubt that whoever walks away with the new trophy will have well and truly earned it.
It's race weekend here in Grand Prix City, Melbourne. When we come back after this break, we'll be joined by Jordan Love from the Carrera Cup. You're watching In Pit Lane, live on YouTube, Facebook Live, and on delay on Channel 31 Melbourne. We're going to take a break. We'll be right back after this. Okay, well, for all of our people watching live, I just want to tell you about it and say thank you to our friends at the Australian Sports Sedan Association of Victoria, who have made this particular program possible, this series of In Pit Lane. And if you're into sports sedans, we've got some very good news. You may have heard of the new Tail and Bend circuit that's happening, opening soon in South Australia. Well, an impressive field of sports sedans have entered for the opening round of the Australian National Sports Sedan Series at the Tail and Bend circuit. Now, a highlight of the entry list is the return of Tony Ricciardello in his Alfetta GTV Chev, who'll take on last year's championship winning team of Jack Perkins driving John Goulet's Chev-powered Audi. Now, also, several of the top Victorian competitors will be making the trip west, including Michael Robinson in his Monaro and Shane Woodman's BMW Chev. Also, Grunt Performance Victorian State Championship regulars Dean Cam and Graham Gilliland are also on the entry list to challenge the new Tail and Bend layout. Now, look, if you'd like to find out more about sports sedans and also how you can be part of it all, and as I said you don't need to have a sports sedan to join the Sports Sedan Association. There's all sorts of ways you can get involved. just to be part of a really fun family club. So why not contact the Australian Sports Sedan Association of Victoria at their website. It's www.sportsedan.com.au. And In Pit Lane and RMITV Student Television would like to thank the Australian Sports Sedan Association of Victoria for their great support for this series of In Pit Lane. Well, welcome back. Well, coming up this weekend at Albert Park will be not just the Formula One and, of course, the Supercar Championship, but also Carrera Cup. Carrera Cup has been a massive success story, and in fact, right throughout the whole sort of, that ladder of Porsches through the GT3 Challenge and also right down to the Victorian state level, Porsche have done an amazing job in creating sort of a ladder and a pathway up to the top level of motorsport. Somebody who's looking to climb that ladder at the moment has been racing in karts since he was about 9 years old. He's originally from Perth, but he's made the long trip across the Nullarbor to set up in Melbourne, where he is driving for the Sonic Racing team, and he'll be driving this weekend at Albert Park. Please welcome Jordan Love. Jordan, thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Now let's talk about your background in the sport. Like most people, you started in karts at 9, but at what point did you make the move up into full-scale circuit racing?
Moved up in 2014, where I did my first race, which was actually in Asia, in a Formula BMW car around Sepang. Went on from there to do a full season up there, which was awesome, and then came back to Australia to do some Formula 4 stuff. It's a great circuit up there, isn't it? Went up there for Super GT a few years ago and saw the Formula BMW and Formula Asia up there, and it's a great. Are you surprised? I mean, especially for people in Perth, I imagine that it's probably just as cheap, if not cheaper, to go head over and do some of those Asian series than it is to come over this side of Australia. Yeah, that was the thing. I mean, it's very practical being from Perth. It's only a 5-hour flight, and it's just as practical as flying to Sydney. So it's really easy from that side of the country, and the circus you get to go to and the level of competition is pretty good. So I had an awesome year up there. Well, certainly if you go back and have a look in the past, it's probably, I suppose, the golden days of Formula BMW Asia, when you had people like, I remember Daniel Ricciardo, Earl Bamber, Sam Abbey, a lot of people who raced in that series who have now gone on to, obviously, Earl and Brendan Hartley, all those people have moved into the higher echelons of motorsport. At what point did you decide to come back to Australia and make your career here rather than sort of stay focused in Asia? It was after I won the championship up there in Formula BMW, and Formula 4 seemed like a new, pretty big thing. So we did a few test days in that, and I tend to like the car, and we decided to do the full year here, which went pretty well, and then decided to move to the GT sort of side of things. Well, you're really in an interesting position, having driven both Formula BMW and Formula 4. Somewhat similar concepts, but very different engines. What was your impression? What's your impression of Formula 4? I mean, a lot of controversy still about that category. There is a lot of controversy. I mean, but all you got to do is you look at the series in Europe and America and Italy and Germany, and it is very strong. And to be honest, I liked the car. I know a few of my other friends of mine that did the series with me, Will Brown, Nick Rowe, they liked the car as well. So it's a bit of taste, and everyone's got their own ideas and their own opinions. So, but no, I had good fun and I really enjoyed it. The transition from something like a Formula 4 into something like Porsche racing, how big a jump was that, and why did you decide to take that path? It was it was a pretty big jump. I think I was sort of at the point where if I wanted to continue the Formula stuff, I needed to go over to Europe, and it was quite financially demanding to make that path. So I sort of took a step back and had a look at a few more options, and GT's quite strong. I sort of never let go of that dream of wanting to go to Europe, and GT's quite strong over there. So I sort of decided that I'd move over to that side of the fence and see what we could do with that. That's one of the things about GT racing and sports car in general now. As you say, there is now an alternative pathway to becoming a professional racing driver. Okay, it's not Formula 1, it's not perhaps even IndyCar or something like that, but there are lots of people out there who are now making very good careers for themselves by running things like Blancpain and the World Endurance Championship and those sorts of things. So is that your long-term goal, things like Le Mans and those sorts of events? Yeah, 100%. WAC is somewhere that I'd really like to be. You look at the likes of Nick Foster, he's an ex-Sonic boy, and he's doing really well in the WAC, and we did last year, and yeah, so that's somewhere where I'd definitely like to end up.
Yeah, and Alex Davison is going back there now and racing in that golf livery car as well, and that's really good. So it's a great opportunity that you've got. So tell us about last year. Also, you were the winner of the Jamie Blakey scholarship. What does that entail?
So at the start of the year, a whole bunch of drivers put in some applicants and go through a series of interviews and stuff like that, and it's basically it's a big financial help from Porsche and Pirelli tyre wise, but also you get to brand yourself as a Porsche Junior driver, which is very good to sell yourself to sponsors as a Porsche Junior driver, and it makes getting that extra bit of budget a little bit easier.
The difference between the car you drove early last year and the GT3 Challenge to what you're driving this year now, you're driving a completely new car, and we'll get onto that sort of probably after the break, because that's quite remarkable that they've just totally changed the field over in the space of a couple of months. How different is this year's car to both the cars you drove last year?
It's different. The 997 compared to the 991 is a lot different to what I thought it would be, but it still has quite similar characteristics, and but no, they're both wicked cars to drive.
Of course, the thing about Porsches is when you look at the physics of them, they shouldn't be able to handle it all. I mean, the GTE cars that are running have now had the engines moved forward, sort of Jim McEwen style for those who are old enough to remember, but the car you're driving, the cars in GT3, have still got the engine where a Porsche engine is supposed to be. Is that really noticeable when you get there? Do you feel that weight and that dynamics behind you?
Oh look, both cars have that characteristic of a bit of understeer, being that they've got so much weight over the rear axle. The gearbox and the engine obviously sit right back, so obviously it's got that natural characteristic of a bit of understeer, but yeah, you can sort of make up for that in setup wise, and but the overall handling is awesome.
Your first round this year was on the streets of Adelaide, so you're going to another street circuit. Talk about Adelaide, sort of mixed results there, but overall you'd be pretty happy, I imagine.
Yeah, I was actually really happy with Adelaide. It was my first time there, first time on the streets of Adelaide, so to come away with 2 6th and a 4th, I thought was quite solid. So, but no, looking forward to Melbourne, another circuit I've never driven before. So yeah, no, I'm really looking forward to it.
How important is it for you guys to be on a card like the Grand Prix? I mean, we all hear the stories the press like to throw around, particularly the Channel 10 television guys say that all of the Formula One team bosses are out there watching, and and we know that that's not really true. But I mean, in terms of like generating sponsorship, and for you to like take out your personal sponsors to an event like the Grand Prix, or even Adelaide for that matter, how important is that?
Oh, everything's important when it comes to your sponsors and the people that are helping to get you where you want to go. But yeah, I think the Formula One events it's an extra special event, being that you're with the Formula One. But I don't think it changes anything the way you look at the weekend or anything like that. I think it's just another weekend really. But yeah, it is cool being alongside the Formula One.
What's the calendar for this, or the schedule for this weekend? It's pretty busy, isn't it? You've got races on all 4 days?
Yeah, we actually got 4 races this weekend, which is one more than any other weekend. But it's pretty packed Thursday, but then pretty cruisy for the rest of the weekend.
Okay, we'll find out more about that when we return. We're going to take a break on In Pit Lane. Our guest tonight is Jordan Love from the Carrera Cup. You can see him in action on the weekend at Albert Park. But right now we'll take a break and we'll be back. Also some live music from Brett Frankie coming up as well. This is In Pit Lane. We'll be right back. Okay, so we're on a break from Channel 31 now, but we're still with you on YouTube. I'm hoping YouTube. I'm not sure what's happening with Facebook. We have all sorts of trouble with Facebook. I don't know. If you're watching on Facebook, hello Facebook. If you're watching on YouTube, hello YouTube. Remember, if you're watching us on YouTube, make sure you subscribe and also click notifications. Really important that you subscribe, because it's all in the algorithms there. And the more people who subscribe, the more people who click notifications, the more publicity you get on YouTube, basically. It helps move us up and makes it easier for people to find us. So, so if you're watching on YouTube, also remember the In Pit Lane website, www.inpitlane.com. Not only can you see all of our programs on that station, but you can also see a lot of live events, including you might be able to catch up on what we had last weekend, which was the Goodwood members meeting, which included the incredible sight of Formula 5000s running in snow on slicks. I kid you not. Formula 5000, and unfortunately Mark Dwyer's car The ex-Max Stewart Lola T400 did sustain some damage, but everybody did a very good job there. Thankfully, it was only a demonstration race, but yeah, it was very frightening. But boy, those guys, you talk about taking it seriously. The historic guys in Europe, they don't take no prisoners, boys. I can tell you what. So have a look at that. If you haven't seen it, go and have a look at the Goodwood members meeting. We have all sorts of things popping up on inpitlane.com. So I think Brett's in position, so we'll get ready to come back for our friends at Channel 31, and the way we'll do that is by saying hello and welcome back to In Pit Lane. Our guest tonight is Jordan Love from the Carrera Cup, and Jordan, you mentioned your long-term ambition is Formula One. Is it one of those things that now for a lot of young people that you just say, look, it's totally out of the question now? It's very much it's the rich kids' game now.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I think I've sort of fallen in love, I think, a bit with the GT3 racing and that sort of side of things. So that's really where I want to go. And yeah, I guess you could say Formula One's out of the picture. It's not really somewhere where I want to go or somewhere where I want to end up, but. Yeah, I've definitely fallen in love with the GT racing side of things.
I think the thing about GT and endurance racing in general is, one, it's more of a team environment and all that, and it does bring into a lot of strategy. It's very much a thinking person's. Often I use the analogy, it's the difference between Test cricket and one-day internationals or T20. When a race like the Le Mans 24-hour is not something you just go out and drive as fast as you can and don't think about it. You've actually got to have some brains to win a race like that.
Yeah, exactly. It's definitely a race that's on my bucket list. I'd love to be a part of that, and definitely in one of the long-term goals, that one, I think.
Yeah, well, there's opportunity. If you look at things like LMP3, that's another category that's taking off, particularly in Asia with the Asian Le Mans series, which a couple of years ago that was looking dead in the water, but now it's really looking very healthy.
Yeah, I have noticed that it's starting to pick up a bit. But yeah, I think at the moment we're just sort of going to start focusing on what we're doing here in Australia with the Porsche Carrera Cup, and yeah, just sort of go from there, I think.
What are you in terms of the backing you're getting from Porsche and the support you're getting from them? I noticed you mentioned on your Facebook page that the connection with Mark Webber. He's an ambassador for Porsche. Are you expecting to sort of catch up with Mark on the weekend at all and have a bit of a word with him?
Yeah, so a part of the Porsche Michelin Junior program that I'm a part with, along with 3 other drivers. We've actually got a mentoring session with Mark tomorrow morning, which I'm really looking forward to. It should be something pretty cool, and yeah, looking forward to that.
Yeah, well, there's somebody who's got and there's a guy I've said many times on this program. There's a young Australian who just basically decided that I'm going to be an international racing driver. I'm going to be a Formula One racing driver, and I'm not taking no for an answer. And he succeeded in spades.
Yeah, 100%, and he succeeded well beyond Formula One as well with the activities he did with Porsche, and yeah, he's someone that's definitely highly regarded in the motorsport industry.
Okay, well, we'll catch up with you a little later. We're running out of time on Channel 31 now, so we're going to have some music to take us out. But stay with us. For all of our YouTube viewers, we will have more with Jordan in just a moment. But right now, to take us out is Brett Frankie. And if you want to catch up with Brett and what he's doing, yeah, he will be this Sunday at Biagio's in Nidri at 6 p.m. Also, you can catch up with his band Temple of Tunes on Facebook. Just search for Temple of Tunes, and that'll be there. But he's going to take us out tonight. So for all of our Channel 31 viewers, we'll see you all next week. Have fun at the Grand Prix, and as we said, to take us out, this is Brett Frankie with Fly. Good night.
Sometimes I don't like to fly too high. Sometimes I just like to touch that sky. I won't look down because I'm too damn high. With a hole in the ground and set the night on fire. Saying hello to the sun, light find the moon, come back down for you. Hey! Sometimes I don't like to fly too high. I know even when I do, sometimes I just like to touch that sky. I know even when I do, I won't look down because I'm too damn high. Put a hole in the ground and set the night on fire. Say hello to the sun, light by the moon, come back down for you. Sometimes I don't like to fly too high, don't like to fly too high, you know I do.
Brett Frankie. Okay, we're coming back for our YouTube people now. I think so. I'm not sure whether those I didn't see any credits roll there. I'm not sure what went wrong there, but anyway, Brett, I saw you were on last weekend. You were at the Aries Inlet Festival.
Aries Inlet, yep.
I remember what the weather was like on Sunday. Tell us about the Aries Inlet Festival on Sunday.
Aries Inlet on Sunday was interesting because on Saturday it was so warm and so hot, which is when I had my gig. It was very uncomfortable, but we got through it. And on Sunday I walked outside at I think it was 10 o'clock in the morning, and there was a gust, and it'd been raining since about 6 a.m. that morning. So a big temperature drop, which made it a bit more comfortable. When the sun came out, it was really nice. But when the sun went away and the wind picked up, it got quite chilly. But the festival went ahead, and it was a fantastic festival.
Well, we'll keep it. We'll get another song from you to take us out in just a moment. But right now, Jordan, wrapping things up. Obviously, the two main events, apart from the Carrera Cup, of course, the two main events are Formula One and Supercars. First of all, Supercars. What are your ambitions? You said you were interested more in the GT racing and more into there. But obviously, if somebody threw a Bathurst 1000 drive at you, you probably wouldn't knock it back. Have you spoken with any of the? Do you have any relationships with the V8 guys or the Supercar teams?
Yeah, I don't think you could knock back a Bathurst 1000 start, but no, obviously I haven't been speaking to anyone. I'm sort of just busy focusing on my own thing and focusing on where I want to go, and just sort of doing my own thing, and yeah.
So for people who turn up at Albert Park, have you got any rough ideas, like when do you actually hit the track?
We'll be on track from midday Thursday with practice, qualifying and a race all on the Thursday, and then one race each day after that.
And I think pretty much most, if not all of those, will be covered on both Foxtel and also on Channel 10, because it's the only Grand Prix we get now in terms of live television. So it'll be good to see you out there. Just quickly, a tip for the Australian Formula One Grand Prix.
I can't put it past Daniel. Obviously being a Perth boy, and he's a Perth boy, I can't say no to him. So I'm putting my tip on Daniel. I think he's shown good pace over the pre-season testing, and I think this will be a good year here for him.
Okay, well, good luck with your own, not only this weekend, but also for the rest of this year in the Carrera Cup, but also for your long-term career. And hopefully I'll be saying bonjour to you one day somewhere around Le Mans. But for now, Jordan Love, thanks for joining us in Pit Lane.
Beautiful. Thanks for having me.
And thank you to you at home for watching. Now, we'll be back next week with all the wrap-ups from the Australian Grand Prix, including all the chaos that's happening tomorrow. But to take us out now, we've got another song from Brett Frankie. And Brett, this one is...
this one's called Burning on the Inside.
Burning on the Inside. So to take us out, until we see you next week, this is Brett Frankie with Burning from the Inside. Until then, good night.
come on and play. One more time is all I want. One more day. One more time is all I need. I can feel it, oh, can you feel it? Can you feel it burning on the inside? I can feel it, oh, can you feel it? Can you feel it burning on the inside? Work all day, find the time to do what I want. Come what may, find the time to do what I need. I can feel it, oh, can you feel it? Can you feel it burning on the inside? I can feel it, oh, can you feel it? Can you feel it burning on the inside? I can feel it, oh, can you feel it? Can you feel it burning on the inside? I can feel it, oh, can you feel it? Can you feel it burning on the inside? Oh yeah. One more time is all I want. Oh yeah. One more time is all I need. Oh yeah. One more time is all I want. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I can feel it, oh, can you feel it? Can you feel it burning on the inside? I can feel it, oh, can you feel it? Can you feel it burning on the inside? I can feel it, oh, can you feel it? Can you feel it burning on the inside? I can feel it, oh, can you feel it? Can you feel it burning, burning, burning on the inside? Off air? Thank you.